So, hello. We have seen the three methods of creating a CSS styling. First was the inline CSS, second was the internal CSS, and the third was the external CSS. What the inline CSS was doing? Inline CSS is written on the same line in which the tag is there. Suppose p tag is there, so in that tag only that inline css will be applied, and we have seen its syntax also, in which there was style equal to property and all. And the second was the internal css, in that we write the code in the head section of the source code using the style. This is the method that we have seen of creating the inline css was using the link method, and inline css was done using, you can see the index here under the style tag it is written. The third was the external css. External css, where the css code is written in a different file, that was called the external css. So in this section we are going to compare these three types of css, and the priority order, which one is to be followed. One thing must have to be kept in mind, that inline css has the greatest priority, that the instruction given under the inline css is given much more priority than all the other two methods. So basically we are going to compare the internal css and the external css in the section. For that I have created one HTML file naming the priority comparison of CSS methods. So here is the source code that we are going to write. The title we are providing is priority comparison, right? So in the body section we are going to create 3 paragraphs for comparing all the 3 methods. So I'm going to copying and pasting these 3 paragraphs from the Coding Ninjas website. Control C, Control V. I'm going to paste it here. So after pasting this paragraph, I'm going to paste 2 more paragraphs under the p tag. I'm going to copy this paragraph. So I'm going to apply the inline css in the, so we have created 3 paragraphs for the comparison. Now I'm going to apply the inline css in the first paragraph. The syntax for the inline css is here. We have to write style and then style equal to color, and this property name and its property value. I'm going to copy and pasting it. So style equal to Control C, and let's go to the comparison of CML file and then apply it here. Control V. So this is how this paragraph is going to be blue, because the inline css has the much more priority than the internal and the external css. Now I'm going to apply the internal css over the whole paragraph. Let it be red. Let the inline css color red, and I'm going to apply the internal css over the whole paragraph to be the color of blue. So blue color I'm going to apply. The syntax I'm going to show you here. What's the syntax for the internal css? So here you can see that syntax I'm going to copy and pasting it. Control C, and then come over here and paste it in the head tag. Control V, and I'm going to mention the style property and style, color, I'm going to give color color blue, save it using Control S. So here we have mentioned the color equal to blue in the internal CSS. Let's open it in the browser, how it's going to get reflected. Open in browser. So here in the internal CSS, we have given the color blue, and I have linked the external CSS using the links after the internal CSS. And here is the CSS file in which the properties and its value is written. So according to you, what should be the color of the second paragraph? So I'm showing you the method. Uh, the inline CSS will also win. There is a conflict between the internal CSS and the external CSS. So let's decode the code. First, code will come here, control will come here, and it will make both the paragraph to be blue. After that, it will come here, goes on till now. Now the link will come and it will go to the CSS file. And the CSS file will say that the color of this paragraph should be orange. So ultimately the color of this paragraph would be orange. So whatever you say, whatever the common property is there between the external and the internal CSS, that will be executed, yeah, that will be reflected on the web page that is at the last. That property will be reflected. So this is about